Buatsi, he's been out the ring for a year. I mean, he's kind of slipped out the public's consciousness, hasn't he?
He has. It's been a frustrating 12 months for Joshua Buatsi. I've been with him this morning at breakfast, actually, and he's looking forward to kickstarting his career. You got to remember that we was talking about this guy as being not just the best prospect in Britain, but the best prospect globally at one point, you know, and he seems to have lost a little bit of ground. He's still the WBA number one ranked. Dan Aziz is WBA number two, and Dimitri Bivol is obviously the champion. We don't know what's going on with him, but for Buatsi, it's all about getting back and staying active again. That's what he's looking to do. But he's got a guy here, Pawel Stepien, who's unbeaten. You know, he's only had the one draw out of 19 contests, and he's tough, and he comes forward, and he will bring the fight to Buatsi. So Buatsi's got to be on form.
But I mean, Spence, let's be fair to the fact that Josh is coming back. It's a tune-up fight because this guy is 5'9" against Josh's 6 foot. His last fight was against a super middleweight. We're not talking about someone that should really put Josh in any kind of difficult position, are we?
No, we're talking about someone that should give Josh some rounds. You know, he comes with a winning mentality, Simon, because like I say, he's got that undefeated record. But you're right, it's all about levels. Buatsi has that level. You know, he's a former Olympic bronze medalist, and as I said just now, you know, he is an unbelievable talent. He really is. But it is all about activity, all about getting the rounds under his belt. Simon, I think that this fight, we talked about this before. This fight is like, yep, Buatsi is expected to win. I don't even see it as a banana skin. You know, he's a tough guy. He's boxing, but he is expected to win, but he should get some rounds. I think it's all about him now. Where does he place himself? You know, the British level at the moment, we've got Craig Richards, who he'd beaten before, but he's on a good run.
We've got Anthony Yard. We've got Lyndon Arthur.
Absolutely. You know, there's some of the names, Dan Aziz, who's number 2 ranked. So there's some big fights there for him in Britain as well. So it's all about making a statement, I think, Saturday night. That's probably a better way of saying it. It's not about winning, it's about making a statement.
Because the big thing about Josh has been this changeover from DAZN and Eddie Hearn over to Ben Shalom and Sky. And I don't think it's anything more controversial than the fact that he views Sky as a better platform for him and believes that Sky is a lineal broadcaster that's arguably the blue ribbon broadcaster in this space is going to be the better opportunity for him. But we do need to see Josh now, because a lot of was raging about the idea that he ducked Bivol because he didn't want to sign for a longer-term situation with Eddie Hearn. And I can understand Eddie Hearn's point of view. If he's pumping money into Josh, then he will want a longer relationship with him post him winning a world title. But after this win, which needs to be not a Anthony Joshua, Jermaine Franklin win, it needs to be a nice, clean, clinical, knockout, convincing win. Where do you think he should be going next? I don't think he should be fighting Dan Aziz. I think he should be picking up fights against maybe Lyndon Arthur or Anthony Yard.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, the fight that we would love to see, and a fight that's been talked about for a while now, is him and Anthony Yard. And Anthony Yard, as we saw when we saw him against Beterbiev, you know, he put up a gallant performance. He showed that he's improving still, actually, Anthony Yard. Heavy-handed, likes to fight. And I think stylistically, that would be the fight. And I think that would be a great fight for the fans. You know, I think what Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis showed us last time is that there doesn't need to be titles on the line. You know, I think we're at a stage now where the boxing fans are getting frustrated with these big fights not happening through the politics, you know, through the broadcasters, etc. Let's get these fights happening now. Like, if those titles are tied up with Dimitri Bivol and we don't know where he's going, is it going to be Beterbiev? Is it going to be Canelo?
Hasn't Beterbiev just signed to fight Callum Smith?
Well, yeah, but I'm not sure where that's situated. So Callum Smith's another one actually. It's in the mix as well. So I'd like to see him and Anthony Yard.
Yeah, so would I. Can you see Anthony Yard wanting to take that fight, Spence?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's a great fight for both of them because the winner goes on and gets another crack at a world title. Or for Buatsi's sake, he'll get a first crack at the world title. So yeah, why not? I think that's a great fight, Simon. I think that, like I say, you know, these guys spend a lot of time waiting for the big opportunities.
It'd be a British super fight, wouldn't it? It'd be easy. There would be big numbers on that. That would be a very, very big draw for British fans, wouldn't it?
It's a pay-per-view fight, you know, and like I say, it doesn't have to be a title on the line. For, you know, people want to see the best against the best, and they are, you know, 2 of the best that this country's got, and we want to see that fight. Winner gets a shot at the world title. But otherwise, they're waiting around and just boxing mediocre opponents, and they lose ground. And inactivity, you know, is not good. So yeah, I think it's a great fight for if Buatsi comes through.
Spencer, you just said it there. Inactivity not good. There's Rob, a fight fan. Buatsi should be fighting Aziz or Yard now. He's wasted years of his career already.
Well, because he's been out for a year. I think this, Jim, what it is he's been out for a year. And, you know, he does need a tune-up fight before he goes in a fight of that sort of magnitude. Because, you know, we've seen Anthony Yarde only losing to Beterbiev, what was it, 2 months ago? So, you know, he needs to be active. So you've got to give him this fight to get some rounds under his belt and then let him go, you know, whether that's in 2 months, 3 months time. But I think that's the perfect fight for him next.
Simon, does Buatsi excite you as a fighter?
Yeah. And I would pick him to beat Anthony Yarde as much as because Anthony Yarde really excites me as a fighter in terms of his challenges against Kovalov, where perhaps if he'd bleeding himself, he could have won a world title. His performances in avenging the defeat against Lyndon Arthur, where he wiped Lyndon Arthur out in the second fight. And, of course, the rounds that he put in early against Beterbiev, but it was levels. So Yarde interests me. I just think that something about Buatsi and his toughness and the fact he overcome Craig Richards. Craig Richards was very unlucky in his fight against Bivol, and potentially, we believe, Spencer and I, that if he'd been a bit more confident, he could have beaten Bivol. Now look what Bivol is. Bivol's now lauded and applauded as this wonderful fighter that no one can beat, and Beterbiev in the same space. So yeah, it does. But Buatsi, to me, I would pick Buatsi to beat Anthony Yarde.
I mean, it's a huge month, isn't it? So talkSPORT brings you exclusive radio commentary of Joshua Buatsi against Pawel Stepien. That's coming live from the Birmingham Arena. Looking forward to that on Saturday night. But Spencer, when you look at it, the month of May, I mean, thank goodness promoters have got their acts together. Katie Taylor against Chantel Cameron, Devin Haney against Lomachenko, wow. Okole against Chris Billum-Smith, Mauricio Lara against Lee Wood, Mick Conlan's world title shot in Belfast against Luis Alberto Lopez. I mean, there's a whole bunch of fights at last promoters have managed to get together.
Yeah, I think they needed to, Jim, you know, with the disappointment of what's been going on. And as we all know, that the heavyweight division dominates boxing and, you know, and everything else trickles down from that. But, you know, I think that the smaller weights now, and like I mentioned, Garcia and Tank Davis, you know, getting it on, and the smaller weights now are all deciding to get it on, mix it up. And it is really healthy for the sport because we needed it with the disappointment of what's been going on in this heavyweight situation for the last 2 years now, really. So your casual fan, they look at that heavyweight scene and they want to see those big fights. And those fights have been falling through, and it's frustration, and people get fed up with it. So thankfully, now, everyone's getting themselves together and we're getting the fights that we need.
From that list, Simon, what's the standout for you?
Lee Wood, Mauricio Lara, because I'm a huge admirer of Lee. I think Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko is a great fight.
Oof, that's in Vegas.
I can't see past Haney. What do you think, Spence?
Yeah, no, I think Haney's. It's all about timing, and Lomachenko. He was, he was the Matrix, a couple of years ago. But Father Time does catch up with you. He may be slowing down just a little bit now. Interesting fight because we don't quite know what Lomachenko's got left. But Devin Haney is definitely the future. So yeah, I think going on current form, you'd have to go with Devin Haney, which seems insane going against Lomachenko. Like I say, he was a pound for pound star, 2 years ago or so. So yeah, I mean, great fight, and I can't wait to see Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameron as well. The women's fight, that is going to be something special as well.